Noble Gold CEO Colin Plume thinks quantitative tightening is setting up the stage for a gold rally. In his interview with the National Desk, Plume said that the tightening is pushing the dollar up. However, he predicts that by next year, the Fed will print money again to restart economic activities. If you're thinking of gold and silver right now, Noble Gold is giving a free gold American Eagle coin with every eligible IRA or 401k in September. You can't go wrong with Noble Gold. Call the team now at 877-646-5347 to find out more, or visit noblegoldinvestments.com. Hey, Inspire Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers, it's John Nolan here. Thank you so much for joining us again today. Thank you for liking, thank you for sharing, thank you for commenting, for subscribing, and thank you for hitting the notifications button so you'll get notified about new videos, algorithm permitting. All right, let's dive into it. I wanted to answer a few questions that we've been asked very often recently. And those questions, I believe, can open up a whole new universe. But you're going to have to walk with these answers. You're going to have to feel and think your way through it, as always, as we don't want to ever perceive to be the source of absolutism. It's always information we put out there, and then you do your due diligence. You do your own research. The questions that we've been getting, two very big questions. And this began coming up with people like Kathy O'Brien on our channel, MK Ultra survivor. She was in the government's top secret mind control program for decades. Some of the worst atrocities that were ever committed. She came out of it. She deprogrammed. And she is, for the past 30 years or so, she's been out there telling her story. We've since become good friends with Kathy. It's wonderful to call her our friend. She's teaching us so much about it. But one of the things that is becoming so obvious to so many people over time now is this pervasive image that there is so much mind control and trauma out there. Why is that? Why is this cabal, this dark group, using trauma? And there's multiple answers, but some of which might be very unexpected. There's the obvious answer. With trauma, you can create a very suggestible environment in the brain. So trauma that has occurred will trigger the person to become very susceptible to any kind of suggestions. Of course, that means much easier to control. There's a lot of psychological deterioration going on after the trauma happens if it's not addressed. There's also physical deterioration going on if this is not addressed and healed. So there's that portion of it, but there is a larger portion of it. Listen, today, we are being brought into the world through a traumatic experience because birth usually takes place at a hospital. What else is taking place at a hospital? What's the energy like in a hospital? How come that the patient in a hospital room that is being treated for a sickness in the best case scenario or operated on, and the mother that is giving birth, it's all the same environment, same scenarios, same people, same doctors for the most part, and they are treating this like a condition. So giving birth for the mother and for the child is a traumatic experience. It's not happening in a joyful environment. It's not happening in a familiar environment. It's not happening in a healthy environment. It's happening in a sick environment. That is the first trauma of our lives. And then, of course, at the end of this physical life, most people today, they pass on in a deteriorated state, feeling poorly, having been in a nursing home or in some kind of facility, usually detached from their families today. This is a very pervasive scenario now, and so they leave. Leaving the body is also a traumatic experience. Families kind of clinging on when they do come to visit. It's a societal programming to not allow the person to actually pass on and die. So much sadness, fear, or whatever. And so that is a traumatic experience also. But why? Why is all that trauma there? What does it actually do to help the plans of these dark forces? Here's the interesting thing. In order to understand this, to comprehend this, you need to realize that life doesn't begin here in this realm and it doesn't end here. There are multiple other spheres. There are also conflicts and wars going on in other spheres, in other realms. This is not the only place where we have conflict. In other spheres, in other dimensions of our experience as we leave this body, there are also conflicts there. Not in all of them. There are others that are completely different. And so here's the crux of it, and how this question is connected to a second question we've been getting a lot, is how come that people like Kathy O'Brien, who is literally told so much about the government program, she's called out people, she's testified in front of Congress, that's of course all been classified. Her whole case has been classified as a case of national security. They said laws don't apply in her case. She has never actually received justice in this system. But how come she is alive? How come they haven't killed her? How come they haven't killed people like David Icke? We are often being asked, how come you come out and say these things? Haven't you ever been threatened? Haven't you ever been this or that? The truth is, we've experienced being watched. We've experienced various agencies wiretapping us and bugging us and doing all these things over the years. But we're still here. David Icke's still here. We're living happy lives. We're living great lives. And so many others that might have had much more significant things to share in terms of threatening these dark forces are also around. Why is that? It's all connected. This is all one question. And I'm not going to give you the straight answer. You have to figure this one out for yourself, but I'm going to lead you there. So, if you are a frightened, scared, panicked, dependent being, you are the ideal candidate for these dark forces that seek to control us. You will be controlled in this physical life, and you will also remain in this loop here and keep coming back in this reincarnation cycle to this place, because you won't have the spiritual awakening, the consciousness journey, and the present awareness to make the right decision as you pass, and to have the understanding and the knowledge and the wisdom to actually transcend this loop. And that's the control system that they want. Because what would happen if an enlightened soul, a beautiful spirit in peace and harmony and joy, would get killed, like someone like David Icke or someone like Kathy O'Brien? What happens if they would kill them? First of all, it's very difficult to kill something that's so far out of your frequency range. But if they would succeed in that, they would be what? Where would they be a threat? Could it be that if these enlightened spirits were to make their exit from this world, they could become a problem somewhere else? I'm asking the question. I'm putting this out there. There is a specific reason we're being kept in the loop. This is also why we've seen such a great population explosion, because I think they have refined the program and managed to keep more people coming in and then in the loop. So this is also why we say, more than anything, the consciousness journey, the awakening to who we really are, the true returning to the true self, the true I am, that is the most significant thing. And only when we come to this place of what people call true to spirit or true to soul, I want to say true to spirit, probably more accurate, only in that realization, in that kind of life, you are actually a shining light, a bright light for change, and you are a force for peace. That's a force to be reckoned with. That's actually a force they cannot reckon with, because they can't touch that. And this is why we say that no matter what happened, no matter what kind of trauma you have experienced, and trust you me on this, please, we all have. We can't quantify that. We can't say my pain is bigger than yours or my suffering was greater than yours, because individually we all feel that suffering. Our greatest intention must be to transcend that and come to this healing place, come to this wholeness place again, where all of our parts realign, body, mind, spirit, in one alignment, the Holy Trinity. When that happens, we step into a kind of power that they cannot reckon with. They cannot fight that. And that is what they're trying to prevent us to do. Because when we do, we don't just have a great life here, and we don't just really helping to implement great changes far beyond what they can perceive. We're also very powerful in the next journey that we then take. This is one of the great secret that they want to keep from us, and it is something, a journey you have to make. You have to actually feel your way through that whole thing. You have to realize this on a much deeper level than just hearing these words. It's an individual, a personal, intimate journey. But this is why there are people that walk this earth that speak truth blatantly, without regard for their physical safety, without any fear, without any any terror or horror or anything that might happen to them, because they know it is their state of awareness and their state of consciousness that keeps them the safest possible, even though they have no real need for safety. Because what's the worst that could happen? Ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? So this is why our intention is to inspire this inner shift, this inner healing, the true journey to wholeness, because then you become this true shining light in this world, and then we change this place, and we change the whole trajectory of this coming back to the I amness. We truly take charge, we take control, we take over in the best possible way. So there's a lot of hidden stuff in here that I'm not verbalizing, not because I don't have the words for it, but because this needs to be a jump that everyone makes on their own. It needs to be a realization that everyone makes on their own. Inspire Tribe, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you, we love you, and we'll be back with you again very, very soon.